So investigators, this search involves Dwayne Davis, also known as Keith D. Davis speaking publicly about the night Tupac died in videos on YouTube and in a book.
It was a quiet summer night in the desert, but at 10 p.m., the silence shattered. A SWAT team swarmed a regular beige house, blinding lights cutting through the dark. "Come out with your hands empty," a voice boomed. This wasn't just a raid. It was the moment police finally kicked down the door to the biggest mystery in music history. What they found inside that house changes everything we thought we knew about the death of Tupac Shakur. The raid on Maple Shade Street. It is July 17, 2023. The sun has gone down in Henderson, Nevada, but the heat is still rising. This is a quiet town. It sits about 20 miles away from the bright neon lights of the Las Vegas Strip. People move here to get away from the noise. They want safe streets. They want to walk their dogs in peace. But on Maple Shade Street, the peace is about to end. Most people are getting ready for bed. TVs flicker in living rooms. Porch lights buzz. It looks like any other boring night in America, but the police are watching. They have been watching this house for a long time. They have a specific target. The target is a man named Dwayne Davis, but the streets know him by a different name. They call him Keith D. Keith D isn't just a retired old man living in the suburbs. He is a legend in the gang world. He was a shot caller for the Southside Compton Crips. For years, he has been telling stories. He bragged about the past. He bragged about the night Tupac died. He thought he was safe in his quiet home. He was wrong. Suddenly, the street explodes with action. It is exactly 10 p.m. Armored vehicles roll into the cul-de-sac. Police cruisers block the exits. The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department has arrived, and they brought the SWAT team. These officers are dressed for war. They have helmets, heavy vests, and long guns. They move fast. In seconds, the beige stucco house is surrounded. A neighbor named Don Sansucci is just getting into bed. He hears the noise and looks out his window. He can't believe his eyes. He sees the cruisers, he sees the SWAT vehicles, and he sees the lights. The police shine massive spotlights onto the house. It is so bright, it looks like daytime in the front yard. There is nowhere to hide. Then the command comes. An officer lifts a megaphone. His voice booms through the neighborhood. "Come out with your hands empty. Come out with your hands up." Inside the house, Keith D and his wife Paula are trapped. They can't run out the back door. They can't flush anything down the toilet. The police are everywhere. The garage door opens slowly. A man and a woman step out into the blinding light. They don't run. They move slowly. They know the drill. They turn around. They interlace their fingers behind their heads. They walk backward toward the armed officers. This is a move police use to stay safe. If the suspect walks backward, they can't see the handcuffs coming. Keith D, the man who called himself a gangster, walks backward in his own driveway. The police move in. They zip tie his hands. "Who's you looking for? Me?" Keith D asks. But the police aren't there for a chat. They are there for the house. They have a search warrant, and that paper allows them to tear his life apart. Searching for ghost stories. The detectives enter the house. They put on gloves. They carry empty boxes and evidence bags. They are ready to search every single inch of the place. They aren't looking for a person. They are looking for memories. They are looking for ghosts from 1996. The warrant is very specific. It says they are looking for items concerning the murder of Tupac Shakur. Think about that for a second. A judge signed a paper in 2023 for a crime that happened 27 years ago. That almost never happens. It shows how serious the police are. They believe Keith D kept things. They believe he was proud of what he did. And they are right. For hours, the police dig through drawers. They look under mattresses. They check the closets. They go through the garage. When they finally come out, they are carrying boxes filled with evidence. The list of what they found is shocking. It wasn't just papers. It was a collection of items that point a finger right at Keith D. The golden ticket, 40 caliber bullets. The most shocking thing they found was small, cold, and deadly. They found bullets, but not just any bullets. They found 40 caliber cartridges. Why does this matter? It matters because of the gun that killed Tupac. On September 7th, 1996, the shooter used a 40 caliber Glock 22. The police have the shell casings from that night. They have the bullets that doctors pulled out of Tupac's body. For 27 years, those bullets sat in an evidence locker, waiting for a match. Now, inside the home of the main suspect, police found bullets of the exact same size. This is a huge win for the detectives. Even if these specific bullets weren't bought in 1996, it shows a connection. It shows that Keith D still handles that type of ammo. But there is a chance for something even bigger. Forensic science is amazing now. The police took these bullets straight to the lab. They are testing them right now. They want to see if the tool marks, the tiny scratches left on bullets, match the old evidence. They want to test the chemical makeup of the lead. If they find a match, it is game over. It would prove the bullets in Keefe D's house came from the same batch as the bullets that killed a superstar. The digital graveyard. We all live on our phones now. Keefe D was no different. The police seized a massive amount of electronics. They wanted to see inside his mind. They wanted to read his emails. They wanted to see his search history. Here's what they took: 5 desktop towers and laptops that could hold thousands of files. They found several tablets. One of them had a pink case. Another had a shattered screen. It didn't matter if they were broken. Police experts can get data off almost anything. They took a phone found in the house. External hard drives and USB sticks used to back up files? What were they looking for? They were looking for his book. Keefe D had written a memoir. They wanted to see the original drafts. Sometimes authors write things in a first draft that they cut out later because it is too incriminating. The police wanted to see those deleted words. They wanted to see if he texted his friends about the murder. They wanted to see if he bragged online. The trophies. Serial killers often keep trophies. They keep things that remind them of their crimes. It seems Keefe D might have done the same thing. The police found a copy of Vibe magazine, but it wasn't just any issue. It was an issue that featured Tupac Shakur. Why would Keefe D keep a magazine with Tupac on the cover? He claimed to be the one who helped kill him. Was he proud of it? Did he look at it to remember that night? To the detectives, this looked like an obsession. It looked like he was keeping a souvenir of his kill. They also found 2 large black tubs of photographs. These weren't just family photos. The police were looking for pictures from the 1990s. They wanted to see Keefe D throwing up gang signs. They wanted to see him with the other men who were in the car that night. They wanted proof that he was a leader of the Southside Compton Crips. These photos could paint a picture of his life as a gangster. The confession in print. The police also found something that Keefe D wrote himself. They found copies of his book, Compton Street Legend. This book is the centerpiece of the whole case. In this book, Keefe D admits to everything. He writes about the fight. He writes about the gun. He writes about the car. He confesses to being an accessory to murder. By finding the books in his house, the police could prove they belonged to him. He couldn't say, oh, someone else wrote that. He had boxes of them. He was selling them. He was making money off the murder. This book was his pride and joy, and now it was the evidence that would put him in handcuffs. The man in the crosshairs. To understand why the police raided this house, you have to know who lived there. Dwayne Keefe D. Davis wasn't just a grandpa. He was a kingpin. He ran the Southside Compton Crips. In the 1990s, Compton was a dangerous place. Gangs fought over territory and drug money. Keefe D was right in the middle of it. He admitted in his book that he ran a drug trafficking operation. He made millions of dollars. He said prison in the 1980s made him a hardened gangster. He wasn't afraid of violence. But Keefe D wasn't just a street thug. He had friends in high places. He hung out with rap stars. He knew P. Diddy. He knew Suge Knight. He moved in circles where music and gangs mixed together. He claimed that P. Diddy hired his gang for security when Bad Boy Records came to the West Coast. This connection is what dragged him into the most famous feud in hip-hop history. The most important person in Keefe D's life was his nephew. His name was Orlando Anderson. On the streets, they called him Baby Lane. Orlando was younger. He looked up to Keefe D. Keefe D was the mentor. Orlando was the soldier. They were family. And in the gang world, family is everything. If someone messed with Orlando, they messed with Keefe D. And that is exactly what happened on the night Tupac died. The spark of war. The murder of Tupac Shakur wasn't random. It was the explosion of a war between two coasts. On one side, you had Death Row Records. This was the biggest label in the world, run by Suge Knight. Suge was associated with the mob Peru Bloods. They wore red. Tupac was the star of Death Row. He embraced the lifestyle. He got a mob Peru tattoo. He acted like a soldier. On the other side, you had Bad Boy Records. This was run by P. Diddy and featured the notorious B.I.G. They were from New York. But when they came to California, they hired the Southside Compton Crips for protection. They wore blue. Keefe D. and Orlando Anderson were Crips. So the lines were drawn. Red versus blue. The tension was high. But the spark that lit the fire happened at a shopping mall. A few months before the murder, a group of Death Row associates was at the Lakewood Mall in California. They saw Orlando Anderson there. A fight broke out. During the fight, someone snatched a chain from one of the Death Row guys. In the rap world, a chain is a symbol of power. Taking someone's chain is an act of war. Suge Knight and Tupac heard about this. They were furious. They wanted revenge. The night of the knockout. The chance for revenge came on September 7, 1996. It was a Saturday night in Las Vegas. The city was buzzing. Everyone was in town for the boxing match. Mike Tyson was fighting Bruce Seldon. Tupac loved Mike Tyson. He felt like they were the same kind of person, misunderstood warriors. The fight was at the MGM Grand Hotel. Tupac sat ringside with Suge Knight. He was wearing a silky orange shirt and tons of jewelry. He was hyped up. The fight didn't last long. Mike Tyson knocked out Selden in just 109 seconds. The crowd went wild. Tupac was jumping up and down. He was energized. He was full of adrenaline. After the fight, Tupac and his crew walked through the MGM Grand Casino lobby. It was packed with people. One of Tupac's friends spotted someone standing alone near the elevators. It was Orlando Anderson. The friend whispered to Tupac, "That's the guy. That's the guy who took the chain." Tupac didn't stop to think. He didn't call security. He acted on instinct. He ran across the lobby. He got right in Orlando's face. He asked him one question. "You from the South?" He was asking if Orlando was a South Side Crip. Before Orlando could answer, Tupac punched him in the face. Orlando fell to the ground. Then it was chaos. Suge Knight and the rest of the death row entourage jumped in. They started kicking and stomping Orlando while he was down. Surveillance cameras caught the whole thing. It showed Tupac stomping. It showed Suge kicking. Security guards rushed in to break it up. Tupac and his crew ran off, laughing. They felt like they had won. Orlando Anderson was left on the floor, beaten and humiliated. But he wasn't defeated. He stood up, and he went to find his uncle, the plan for revenge. Orlando Anderson went to his hotel room and met up with Keith D. When Keith D heard what happened, he was furious. "They jumped my nephew?" This was a violation. In their world, you can't let something like that slide. If you do, you look weak. And if you look weak, you are finished. They decided they had to strike back. Tonight, according to Keith D's book, they needed a gun. They didn't have one on them because they had been at the fight. They made some calls. They met up with some associates. They got their hands on a .40 caliber Glock 22. It was a black semi-automatic pistol. It held a lot of bullets. It was a weapon made for war. They needed a car. They got a white four-door Cadillac. It was big and smooth. 4 men piled into the car. This was the kill team. Terrence Bubble Up Brown was the driver. Keith D sat in the front passenger seat. He was the boss. Orlando Baby Lane Anderson sat in the back seat on the right. DeAndre Freaky Smith sat in the back seat on the left. They drove out onto the Las Vegas Strip. They were hunting. They knew where Tupac was going. Everyone knew. Tupac was heading to Club 1662. It was a club owned by Suge Knight. He was supposed to perform there later that night. The white Cadillac drove toward the club. They waited. The fatal turn. At around 11 o'clock p.m., Tupac left his hotel. He changed his clothes. He was now wearing a green basketball jersey and plenty of gold chains. He got into a black BMW 750 IL. Suge Knight was driving. Tupac was in the passenger seat. They were leading a convoy of cars. It looked like a parade. The music was blasting. The windows were down. Tupac was leaning out the window, waving to fans. He was shouting at people on the sidewalk. He had no idea that a white Cadillac was stalking him in the traffic. At about 11:15 p.m., the black BMW stopped at a red light. They were at the intersection of East Flamingo Road and Colville Lane. To the left of the BMW, a car full of women pulled up. Tupac smiled at them. He invited them to the club. He was flirting. He was happy. To the right of the BMW, the lane was empty. Then the white Cadillac pulled up. It moved silently. It stopped right next to the BMW. The passenger windows aligned perfectly. The back window of the Cadillac rolled down. Keith D says he handed the gun to the back seat. An arm extended out of the window, holding the black Glock. The sound was deafening. 14 shots were fired in seconds. The bullets shredded the side of the BMW. They punched through the metal door. Tupac tried to scramble into the back seat to escape, but the seatbelt and the chaos trapped him. One bullet hit him in the chest. One hit his arm. One hit his thigh. One bullet went through his chest and pierced his lung. Suge Knight was hit too. A bullet fragment grazed his head, but Suge kept his foot on the gas. He spun the car around. He made a U-turn over the median. He floored it. He was trying to get away. He was trying to save his friend. The white Cadillac didn't chase them. It turned right and vanished into the night. The final words. Suge Knight drove the battered BMW down the strip. The tires were blown out. He was driving on rims. Sparks were flying. A mile down the road, the BMW came to a stop. Police on bicycles surrounded the car with guns drawn. Suge Knight stumbled out, bleeding and yelling, "Pack! Pack!" Officer Chris Carroll was the first cop to reach the passenger door. He looked inside and saw Tupac Shakur. Tupac was covered in blood. He was slumped over. Officer Carroll pulled him out of the car onto the pavement. The scene was chaotic. Sirens wailed. People screamed. Carroll knew this was a homicide in the making. He needed a name. He leaned down close to Tupac's face. "Who shot you?" he asked. "Who did this?" Tupac looked at him. He was in shock. He took a deep breath. He focused his eyes on the officer. He opened his mouth to speak. Carol thought he was going to say a name. Instead, Tupac whispered 2 words: F you. Those were the last words Tupac Shakur ever spoke. He lost consciousness right there on the asphalt. Ambulances rushed him to the University Medical Center. Doctors worked on him all night. They removed his damaged lung. They put him into a coma. For 6 days, the world prayed. But on Friday, September 13, 1996, at 4:03 p.m., Tupac Shakur was pronounced dead. He was 25 years old. The case that wouldn't die. For 27 years, the case went cold. The police questioned people, but nobody talked. Orlando Anderson was questioned, but he said he was innocent. 2 years later, in 1998, Orlando was killed in a gang shootout at a car wash in Compton. With the main suspect dead, the case seemed over. But Keith D couldn't stay quiet. In 2010, he was caught in a massive drug bust. Facing life in prison, he made a deal. He agreed to tell the police everything he knew about the murders of Tupac and Biggie Smalls. In a closed room, he told the truth. He admitted he was in the car. He admitted he handed the gun to Orlando. He thought this confession was secret. He thought he had immunity. So, he started trying to make money off his story. He went on documentaries. He sat down with DJ Vlad on YouTube. And then he wrote the book, Compton Street Legend. In the book, he wrote, "I'm the only one alive who knows the truth." He detailed the white Cadillac. He detailed the gun. He didn't realize that his immunity deal didn't cover a book. He was confessing to murder in public. And the Las Vegas police were watching. The arrest and the drama. The police built their case using his own words. They used his book to get the search warrant for his house. On September 29, 2023, the hammer dropped. Keith D was out for a morning walk in his quiet neighborhood. Police cars pulled up. They arrested him without a fight. He was indicted by a grand jury for murder with use of a deadly weapon. Keith D is now in jail, but the story isn't over. He tried to get out on bail. His bail was set at $750,000. He didn't have the money, but then a famous music manager named Whack 100 offered to pay it. This caused a huge drama in court. The prosecutor said Whack 100 was only paying the bail because he wanted the rights to Keith D's life story for a TV show. The judge, Carly Kearney, said no. She said Nevada law prevents a criminal from profiting from their crime. She denied the bail. Keith D had to stay in jail. Now, the trial is delayed. Keith D hired new lawyers. They claim the confession in the book was just entertainment and lies told to make money. They say they have witnesses who can prove Keith D wasn't even in Las Vegas that night. The judge agreed to give them more time. The new trial date is set for February 9th, 2026. The raid on Maple Shade Street was a time machine. It took us back to 1996. The police found bullets, books, and photos that had been hidden for decades. Keith D thought he was untouchable. He thought he could write a book about murder and get away with it. But he forgot one thing: you can't outrun the truth forever. Now, the world waits for 2026. Will justice finally be served for Tupac Shakur? The answer is sitting in an evidence box in Las Vegas, waiting for its day in court.